I now hand the conference over to Mr. K.R. Lalpuria, Executive Director of Indocount Industries Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I hope you are all keeping safe and healthy. I hope everyone must have got a chance to look at the presentation and press release by now. I have with me Mr. Muralidharan, our CFO, and Strategic Growth Advisors, our Investor Relation Advisors. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every employee at Indocount for their continued support in navigating through these challenging times. The resilience of our team members over the years has borne fruit for us today. I would also like to thank the management, our chairman and vice chairman, for their continued patience and support and their strong vision to lead this company. In the recent words of Tim Cook, he mentioned, this is a quote, "This year our homes have become even more important in our daily lives." We are witnessing this play out in our markets. Home is becoming the center stage with increased consumer spending due to more time spent at home due to the work from home and social distancing culture. A lot of structural factors are expected to play out going forward. Let me explain them. First of all, the China Plus One strategy. We expect China Plus One theme to reap benefits where the brands are looking for a credible second source in order to reduce dependency on a single geography. This, along with the government support under Atmanirbhar Bharat to uplift domestic manufacturers, we believe the Indian home textile industry is in a sweet spot, and it is likely to benefit due to abundant availability of raw materials and skilled manpower, along with steady capability and capacity available for growth. Now the retail consolidation. We expect a higher demand trajectory from big box retailers as compared to small retailers. With this consolidation, companies with focused solutions and faster go-to-market approach are gaining market share. We believe our strong relationship with large retailers and our credibility as a consistent and innovative supplier will greatly enhance our market share. Then the value addition in the value-added categories. We are witnessing demand towards value-added product categories addressing health, hygiene and wellness. This theme will accelerate going forward to provide immense opportunities for value addition. The awareness and need for these categories is providing opportunities for further value addition. The omni-channel sales are helping to drive these categories in reaching out to new customers, thereby strengthening our customer relationship further. In a step towards aligning our product categories with the aspiring needs of the customer, I am happy to announce that we have quickly adopted to the market dynamics on the back of our strong R&D and technological advancement. We have made and launched recent developments such as Holistic, a whole health sleep better brand which features innovation associated with cleaner living, keeping a hygienic home and fostering better sleep. We also launched Sleep RX, duly trademarked, during the Fall Market, New York. This is focusing on sustainable performance. In October, just recently, we launched our new domestic brand named Layers. This is a value-driven mass brand to cater to the aspiring customers across India. We also launched Boutique Living Luxury, which is a direct-to-consumer luxury bedding brand in India. We have also partnered with global major Archroma for manufacturing home textiles in India for our Pure Earth organic cotton brand, which will use plant-based dyes. We believe that these are strong and long-term sustainable positives for the home textile industry with a good customer base, capital adequacy, with a wider geographic distribution, extensive sectoral understanding of products and product development, as well as a relatively under-leveraged balance sheet. We are all well prepared to quickly adapt to the changing customer ecosystem. Now let me share with you our operational and financial performance. I am happy to announce that we have achieved highest ever quarterly sales of 22.76 million for Q2 FY21. Our order book looks healthy for the coming quarters and we are confident of a sustained growth. We are therefore pegging our FY21 guidance for sales volume at 72 to 75 million meters. Our total income stood at 724 crores for the quarter FY21 versus 587 crores in Q2 FY20, a growth of 23% on a YOY basis. For half year H1 FY21, the revenue stood at 1060 crores against 1106 crores in H1 FY20. EBITDA. This is 127 crores in Q2 FY21 versus rupees 82 crores in Q2 FY20, a growth of 54% on a YOY basis. Higher absorption of fixed cost on the back of increased volumes led to EBITDA margin at 17.5% in Q2 FY21 versus 14% in Q2 FY20, an increase of 349 bps on a YOY basis. Rupees 166 crores in H1 FY21 is the EBITDA versus 154 crores for H1 FY20, a growth of 8% on a YOY basis. EBITDA margin at 15.6% in H1 FY21 versus 13.9% for H1 FY20, an increase of 173 bps on a YOY basis. Now PBT before exceptional items. Rupees 111 crores in Q2 FY21 versus 60 crores in Q2 FY20, a growth of 85% on a YOY basis. Rupees 134 crores in H1 FY21 versus rupees 112 crores in H1 FY20, a growth of 20% on a YOY basis. Now debt and cash. Our total long-term debt stood at rupees 29 crores only as on 30th September 2020 versus rupees 36 crores as on 31st March 2020. The total debt including working capital stood at rupees 290 crores as on 30th September 2020 versus rupees 329 crores as on 31st March 2020. The total cash and cash equivalents at the end of 30th September 2020 stood at rupees 228 crores. Our net debt to equity is at 0.06x. That's all from my side. I now leave the floor open for the question and answer.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Madhav Marda from Fidelity Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. So my question was, if we take, given that this China Plus One strategy is playing out across the world, if you can give us a little bit more detail in terms of what is happening in the key US market for us, and if we take like maybe a 3-year view, can the 90 million meter capacity that we have, can it be fully sold out? Because if I just annualize the 22 million sale that we did last quarter, it seems like we're already there in terms of full utilization.
Yes, this China Plus One strategy is all about, playing out with the retailers as the brands would like to do away with the dependence on a single geography. It started with the tariff conflict between the US, the largest market, and China, and they imposed certain tariffs at a pre-COVID level. Now, post-COVID level also, the sentiments were against China. And what we hear about from the leadership in the US as well, their position against China is still on. So we feel that wherever China is dominating in whichever product category in the home textile area, there are strong possibilities in the future that their market share would get reduced. And as a company, we informed earlier as well that strategically 3 years before, we started with fashion bedding, utility and institutional bedding, where China was dominating at around 85% of market share. And India was at around 7% market share. So we feel strongly that once India enters this space and make its name dominant in the market, then definitely this market share would shift. And secondly, India is also at a very good position along with the raw material abundancy and the skilled labor availability. And India has performed well in the last 3 decades. So we feel that in the coming years, this China Plus One strategy will definitely help India into leading to higher growth in home textiles.
And in terms of the capacity, sir, like we are running at say 22 million meters done rate last quarter. Can I just annualize it for the next 4 quarters and say that we'll be fully, booked for the next year, or how should we think about the ramp up of the capacity?
So we have given a guidance of 72 to 75 million meters. So we do have some capacity available for FY22, and we are on our drawing boards, and the board will take appropriate decisions regarding the capacity very soon.
Okay. So there might be some expansion that might come up, right? Maybe some announcement in the next 6 months. If demand is going well, we could sort of expand capacity maybe.
Definitely, the board will take appropriate call, as I said, and they will consider, because we are on the drawing boards and we are also recognizing this fact that our capacity is operating at more than 85% of our installed capacity. But as I mentioned, for FY22, we still have capacity to sell because we have a 90 million meters capacity, and in that we can safely reach around 85-87 million meters. So we can go up to that level.
Okay. And in case if we have to expand, like will it be a brownfield expansion or do we need to do a full new site? Any thoughts on that?
It will be both brownfield and maybe some greenfield as well. But as I mentioned, still we are on the drawing board and the board will take appropriate decision.
But do we have scope for like a brownfield at our existing site already?
Yes, we do have.
Okay. And so just one other question from my side was on the EBITDA margins. There are a few drivers like cotton prices or forex that impact our margins. How should we think about EBITDA margins for the next 6-12 months? What would be a comfortable range as to?
See, our margins for the quarter stood at 17.5%.
Yeah.
And this was on the back of operating leverage playing out due to increased volumes and higher efficiencies and our prudent cost management. Our sustainable margin guidance for the year is around 15 to 17% on the back of good demand traction, which will lead to operating efficiencies. So these are sustainable margins we feel on the back of higher sales and higher absorption of cost.
And maybe if I can squeeze in one last question, if
Sorry
we
to
compare.
interrupt you, Mr. Madhav. This is the operator. May we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions, sir? Mr. Madhav?
I had one last question if I can ask, or I can go back and see what you can say.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, so my last question was basically if we compare India versus China in terms of cost parameters for the bed linen, are we at the same level or are we a little bit more expensive? How should we compare in terms of cost?
See, particularly in sheet set, India has performed very well on the cotton side. And if you observe, India is already at 50% level. So definitely India is competitive against China. As far as synthetic is concerned, the MMS price difference is in favor of China. So there we need to rationalize the duties, and once we do that, then we feel that the Indian competitiveness in this synthetic related product also will play out. So slowly India is getting much better than China in other categories as well, because the Chinese labor cost has gone up, and as well as the raw material cost in China for cotton and cotton related product has gone up. So we believe that India is getting much more competitive vis-a-vis China in our categories.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tarang Agarwal from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon and congratulations for a strong set of results. I have a couple of questions. One, so if I look at your volume guidance, right, you're looking at almost 40 million meters in the next half year as compared to 30 million meters in H2 FY20. So what is driving, what gives you the confidence that you'll be able to, get these volumes? And second, in terms of your order book visibility, what is the visibility that you have? That's my first question. I'll ask the following questions after this.
Yeah. See, first of all, the home textile industry has witnessed a strong demand revival during the second quarter on account of high demand from big retailers, and their inventory pipeline dried up. And also the demand is shifting to value addition in health and hygiene products, as what we have mentioned in our investor deck as well. People are spending more time at home. Home is at the center stage, and home textile consumption has gone up due to that. Work from home culture has become the new norm. So we feel that home textile growth will be sustained in the future as well, and this is driving the volumes and the value both for home textile companies. The upcoming festival season also in Europe and USA is expected to see strong demand in the coming quarters. And we are seeing this recovery in the US, which is our largest market. So in the guidance which we have given is backed by good order book position, and we are confident to deliver this guidance this year. And we continue to be very optimistic about the future growth as well, because home, as what I have mentioned, has come to the center stage of our life and lifestyle. So the home textile consumption has gone up.
Okay. And generally, what is the order book visibility that you have? Say on 30th September, you'll have a visibility of what? The next 6 months, 3 months, how does it work?
See, based on the order book position, as I mentioned, we have already given you a guidance of 70 to 75 million. We didn't give that guidance in our last con call because we were unsure at that point of time. But now the order book position is good, so that's why we have given a guidance.
Okay, so the visibility is for the next 6 months, is it, generally?
No, the visibility and the uptick in demand and the momentum is there. As what we have also mentioned, that there is a month-on-month traction and a positive momentum in this home textile is there from the big box retailers. And there is also a consolidation happening where the business from the small retailers and the small mom and pop stores has shifted to the big box retailers. Since we do business with the big box retailers, our demand has also gone up. So we feel that this will be a sustainable and continuous demand in our home textile space.
Okay. So the second thing is, if I noticed your P&L, right, in the last 5 years, your job work charges have increased significantly. What has led that? Has there been a strategic shift in terms of how you're processing and manufacturing?
So since we outsource, and the job work charges are related to when we outsource the material, we pay job work on the weaving side or the spinning side. So that has gone up because of the cost factors, like the labor charges has gone up, the power cost has gone up for them. So normally the pick charges, it correlates to have gone up over the period of 4 5 years. And that's the reason the job work charges goes up.
Because, sir, if I see that line item alone, that line item has gone up by almost 2.5x, while we haven't seen a commensurate increase in your revenue. So I was just wondering if there has been some strategic decision that's been taken.
But the volume has also gone up, if you realize that. The volume has also gone up correspondingly, so that the job work charges will definitely go up.
True. And sir, my final question on my side, of the 2100 crore revenue in FY20, what is the split between 100% cotton and synthetic?
Mostly cotton, like we sell almost 80% plus cotton.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashwini Agarwal from Ashmore Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Hi. Good afternoon, and congratulations on a good set of earnings for the quarter. So a couple of questions. In your opening remarks, you spoke about the Sleep Better, Sleep RX, and a relationship with Archroma for plant-based dyes. Could you speak a little bit more about that? I mean, what is Sleep Better, Sleep RX? Is that a technology that you weave into your bed linen, or is this, what is it?
You see, these products are like Sleep RX is based out of a sustainable material, fiber, which we use from time to time. And those sustainable fibers are blended along with the cotton. So, providing performance, to the whole product in the marketplace. So these are innovations which are, new and created by our team, and they are branded and they are sold as such Sleep RX because that is the trademark which we have registered. So based out of the performance and sustainable material, we have developed this brand. So we are focusing now because of the health and hygiene suddenly segment has gone up and is accepted more by the customers. We are correlating our product to some of this health and hygiene segment. And that's the reason we have developed this new product. And then we have also in our sleep theory, like Whole Health Sleep Better brand, this brand is concerning about keeping a hygienic home and fostering better sleep. So Holistic is a brand which we launched, which correlates to this kind of product. So you see, in the marketplace, you have to connect with the customers and you have to meet their demand. Now the customers' preferences keeps on evolving, and say sometimes they want performance based, sometimes they want wellness based, sometimes they want comfort based. So say when comfort based comes, it means that they need better sleep. So we have to correlate our product development and innovations towards that and provide them that solution. So our company's core competence is innovation, and we spend a lot of effort into developing new products and launching them in the marketplace in order to meet the aspiration of the consumers at large. And secondly, this Archroma also, they have developed plant-based dyes which can be used into organic cotton. Earlier in organic cotton, there were chemical dyes being used. Now it is plant-based dyes. So this is a patented technology developed by Archroma, which is a large global giant. So we have an exclusive arrangement with them globally for selling bed linen in that. And I am happy to say that it has found a good acknowledgement among our customers, and there will be a couple of programs which will be launched in the US in this category. So Archroma stands for this organic and pure earth collection from plant-based dyes. So all these products, as I mentioned, is correlated to the aspiration of the customer, and we need to find solution and provide them both the brand value and the functional values.
And sir, this exclusivity that you have with Archroma, is it for a certain type of customers or certain big box retailers, or what is this exclusivity?
See, this exclusivity is for the bed linen and the towels, which we can sell to them, to our retailers and customers at large. So in this product category, they have provided us exclusivity to us. So we can sell, we are the only people where they have made this technology available to us.
Right. And in your opening remarks relating to Sleep Better and Sleep RX, if I heard you right, there was some New York connection you mentioned. What is that? Or did I hear something wrong?
No, that is during the fall market. Like say there are two markets. One is the spring market and the fall market. So fall market correlates to winter products and for next year, and also spring market for next year. So in New York we launched this brand in our showroom, Sleep RX, and that is also finding shelf space into a couple of retailers very soon.
Okay. So coming to your domestic business, where you were starting out with a luxury direct-to-consumer brand and layers, how big is this business, as of this time, and where do you think it gets to in the next 3 to 5 years?
We are very optimistic about the Indian market because, as our Prime Minister is mentioning about, a 5 trillion economy, and looking at the young age in India, both the Gen Z and the millennials, they are demanding better functional products, both online and offline. So in order to meet these expectations, we had earlier launched Boutique Living a couple of years back, and we had created the necessary groundwork for it. Now, since the market is slowly maturing and there are few only brands which are available in India, maybe only a couple of them, we feel there is a large space out there for us to reach out. And hence, our company has taken steps in this direction by providing products for each segment of the class of the people. So we launched Layers, which is a mass brand. This will be catering across India, combining the style, technology and price also. We have Boutique Living, which is a brand, aspiring brand, which we launched for the mid to high segment. And the Boutique Living Luxury is a direct-to-consumer brand, which we have launched, and this will be further cemented in the coming few months to offer to direct-to-consumers, because direct-to-consumer is also a happening channel of sales in the coming years. So we feel that we can offer a complete bedding solution to the Indian public, and we are quite optimistic about it. We have created a very good team. We have very good product. This has found the acknowledgement in the market, and we are offering value to the market, and we are quite optimistic that this should do well in the next 3 to 5 years. We have laid the seed, and now we hope that this should do well in the coming years, provided there are no uncertainties.
Thank you. This is the operator. Mr. Agarwal, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions, as there are several participants waiting for their turn. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. The next question is from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam AMC. Please go ahead.
Congratulations, Mr. Lalpuria, for an excellent set of results. Just wanted to ask you that given the China One strategy and given the way we are positioning, do you see this growth opportunity for us as a multi-year growth opportunity?
We definitely see, because these are structural shift in our businesses as what we have mentioned. And since home is coming to the center stage, with the changing lifestyle and focusing on health and hygiene and all the other activities like leisure and entertainment and everything happening at home, the home textile consumption has gone up. And this is a structural shift which has happened in our space. Secondly, the China Plus One strategy started way back 2 years back, where there was a tariff conflict between the US and China. So it started with that, imposing higher tariffs on Chinese goods, and so the brands were compelled to move out of their dependence from China and look at other sustainable sources. Now India is very well positioned in this space because India has got abundant raw material and traditional and skilled workforce. So India is grabbing this opportunity as what we speak, and in 3 to 5 years you will see a structural shift into India supplying a major portion of this particular categories where China is falling back. So we feel that this also should be a structural shift, and as what we had earlier mentioned also, that our company also has ventured into the fashion bedding, utility bedding and the institutional bedding 3 years back. We are inching up their sales slowly, and we have come to a level of 15% of our sales in these 3 new categories. We are building up the back end spaces and the front end. We are building the design houses and making us as a compelling player for the brand to recognize. And this is a target market of almost 10 billion which can be addressed, and there China is a dominant player today. So we believe that the Indian home textile industry stands to gain on this potential shift of these product categories and the China Plus One strategy.
So you do believe it's a multi-year growth opportunity?
See, we do believe this multi-year growth opportunity for the home textile. The home textile has been growing for India for almost 3 decades, and India is well positioned now in the home textile space and recognized as a very good supplier.
Wonderful. One more thing we have noticed, Mr. Lalpuria, that you have actually given a guidance of nearly 40 plus million meters in the second half. And if one goes by your rated capacity of 22 to 23 million to be achieved in Q3, then first time in the history, in Q4, normally it used to be a seasonal. Now we are seeing a fantastic demand growth in Q4. Do you believe that seasonality is now behind us, and what would your new normal be in terms of going forward for every quarterly, to achieve a volume? What can you define your new normal?
See, as I mentioned, there are positive structural shift in our business which is helping our growth. We have given an annual guidance of 70 to 75 million. We do track month-on-month traction, and it also depends on certain seasonality as well. But looking at our growth and looking at the demand, we feel that there will be a continued sustenance growth in the future years to come. And we see this strong demand and momentum to continue in our other quarters as well. So we are quite confident of delivering this kind of volumes in the future and providing proper guidance to the marketplace.
So you were hovering normally in that 14 to 17 every quarter, 14 to 17 million. Can we say that the new normal can be 20 million meters per quarter?
We are optimistic, but you see, we in made-to-order business, we are dependent upon the marketplace, and we have to watch it carefully. And but we feel very optimistic about it, Mr. Doshi. That this should.
So, as we speak, you are saying that you can sustain whatever you are doing as a run rate.
Yes, please.
Okay. Wishing you all the best. Thank you. Thank you.
See, one more.
Yeah, please go ahead.
One more thing which we should recognize that when we mention about 90 million meters capacity, as an organization, we have proved our run rate.
Yes, commendable.
So, there are no means to doubt this sustenance. So, the company is strongly positioned in the marketplace with capital adequacy, good customer base, good product base, our core competence being innovation. We are recognized of that fact. So, we strongly feel that, we should do well as a company going forward.
No, but actually, you have always been telling us 85 million, but if I take your last quarter, you have actually surpassed 90 million. So it's something commendable. I mean, one wonders, how did you achieve this capacity? It's extraordinary. What would you give an explanation for how you have achieved a run rate of 90 million?
So that is about the demand in our major markets. And as I mentioned, the home has become suddenly the space where, you spend most of your time. And everything, all activities like work, leisure, entertainment, all happening at home. So we feel that, this will further create demand for home textile product. And all this, I think the structural shift which we mentioned about the health and hygiene category also getting added has upticked the demand. So those are the drivers.
So because of that, seasonality actually has now shifted and that could be a regular routine business.
We feel so. We are optimistic, Mr. Doshi.
Okay, wonderful. Once again, congratulations for a spectacular result and all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kaushal Shah from Dhanki Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir, I had just two questions. One is, you mentioned about, higher share in fashion and institutional bedding for Indocount. So if you can just share some more, thoughts on that and the scope for growth for us in that particular segment. The second was on the availability of cotton and the pricing because the new season has just begun. And also, how do you see the export benefits, the MEIS? There has been some capping by the government. So these are the questions, sir.
Yeah, first of all, as I mentioned, there's a target market out there where China is dominating of almost 10 billion at retail, which we are targeting as an Indian company. And we are well positioned in that because over a period of 3 years, we have made efforts into establishing design houses across the globe, like in New York, in Manchester, in Dubai, at various large markets. So we have made attempts to penetrate that market and grab that market share, which we believe that will shift from China. So in fashion, utility and institutional category, as I mentioned, India is still has a 3-5 years, tenure to go for. And we are working both in the forward and backward space in order to deliver to the customer the value proposition. So we are at today a level of 15% and we intend on the increased volume. So we were earlier also at 13 on the volume which we reported, but now we are at 15% on the higher volume. So it is keeping the same pace. So it is quite promising to see that India getting recognized as a good supplier over the last 3 decades in home textile, and now whatever efforts which we are putting on in this direction is paying off. So that is one that answers your first question. The second question is on the cotton side. The crop is good. The prices were subdued during the COVID level, but they have now inched up. And today they are around at 41,000 rupees a candy. Even the Cot A index in New York, that has moved up to around 71, 72 cents. So during the seasons, normally the demand picks up, and during COVID level, the demand has gone down. So suddenly, because of this demand, the cotton prices have inched up. But we still feel that the Indian crop is good, and that will be able to meet the demand. Except for the exports which are happening now at a faster pace, we feel that we need to watch the situation carefully going forward, how it pans out, and but still we feel that we will be able to manage this year at levels which will be below the last year level of 44,000. So that explains to you on your cotton side.
On the MEIS or the ROC STL benefits?
Yeah, that notification has already come that it has been extended to 31st March, and the government will be coming out with RODTEP, and for particularly Chapter 63 in which we are shipping, the government has decided that till the RODTEP is functional, then only they will stop our ROSCTL. So we are hopeful that this should continue till the RODTEP new mechanism is notified, and so that's the position on the RODTEP and ROSCTL, and MEIS has been discontinued for our product category when they bought out ROSCTL.
So, sir, if we include the drawback and the ROSCTL, will the benefit be around 10% or it will be less or more?
Around 10%, below 10%, because the realization rate for the scrip also is around 95-96%.
Understood. All right, sir. That clarifies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikram Sharma from Nivesh I. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, sir. So during the quarter two, we have added some new clients in our portfolio, or major sales improvement was from our existing client only?
Both.
So any proportion? Any proportions?
So, like, we keep on adding new customers. We are exporting to 54 countries, so definitely we will be adding new customers. And the business, as I mentioned, has gone up for big box retailers whom we deal with. They are doing well because they are selling essentials as well, and they were not closed during lockdown. And their market share has also gone up because the smaller retailers found difficult to sustain. So that is the situation.
So, sir, we are expecting same level demand after ending of stimulus by US government.
As I mentioned, this is a structural shift in our business where home has become important, and plus China plus one strategy, plus additional category of product in health and hygiene, and increased demand, consolidation happening at the retail side with large retailers whom we deal with. So all these factors is helping the demand to move in the right direction for us.
Thank you. This is the operator. Mr. Sharma, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions? We'll take the next question from the line of Apurva Shah from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And, sir, congratulations for fantastic result and very encouraging volume guidance. Sir, I just need one clarification because I understood your margin guidance in terms of percentage, which will be in the range of 15 to 17%. But on absolute terms, if we do simple maths, so I just want to check what we are missing. So, sir, I think for the current quarter, the EBITDA per meter is around 55.8 rupees, which is, I think, highest in the history, and which has moved up significantly from 30 rupees per meter maybe a couple of years back. So in absolute terms, what will be your guidance? And on a contrary, if I look at your realization per meter, that has came down. So that was hovering around 340 to 345 meter, which has came down to 318 rupees. So sir, I just want to understand this divergence.
So first of all, we don't look at per meter realization because you see we ship across 54 countries. The fragmented product mix which we have has so many thread counts, so many colors and so many designs, prints in different packaging, organic, non-organic. So there are so many products, which we cater to. So we don't look at the per meter realization. Yes, definitely we look at the overall margin which we gain. Because and with some customers like in Europe or some mass retailers, the margin may be low. And if we ship to specialty retailers or departmental stores or club warehouse, we get a better margin. So the segmentation also help us to drive the margin. What we should look at probably is how we maintain the overall margin, and that guidance which we have already provided. So we should look at the overall, because there are so many moving averages, the raw material, the forex, the product mix, and our utilization of capacities, so the labor cost, the power cost, so many things are moving, So we need to look at it in a holistic view. We cannot look at from a per meter realization, because if we are only doing few category of product, we can then, consider this argument.
Understood. And sir, when we say value added, so in that case as well, we should not be focusing on per meter, that is factored in the guidance given of 15 to 17%, because in value added we have launched new products and our focus is also value added, which you covered in your initial remark. So will that increase our margin either in percentage or absolute terms?
See, definitely our endeavor is always to sell value-added material to the customer and move from higher segment to the premium segment, from the higher to the branded segment. So that is always the endeavor of the company, to realize better value for its product. So that is always there through either innovation or through, better selling to good customers and meeting their demand, or special packaging or sustainable fibers. So there are various means through which we try to increase the value realization. So what I meant by saying that in health and hygiene, this is a new category addition as of now. Just like you see buying, sanitizers, mask and PP gowns and all that. So these are all new categories which got added with the retail. Similarly, for health and hygiene, earlier the buyer was at an option whether to keep this on the shelf or not. But now he is compelled to add that in his pallet and keep that on his shelf. So definitely that value addition in that particular product will give us a better value than a commodity. So this value addition will certainly help the company to realize better value. And as I mentioned, we have also chalked out the program to go after fashion bedding and utility and institutional bedding in a big way. Now this fashion, when you add fashion to a product, definitely you get more value. So all these attempts are there in order to realize better value. So value addition comes through those drivers, through product innovation, creativity, packaging, and all this sustainable fibers, organic, non-organic. So all this adds up to this value addition.
Thank you. Mr. Shah, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions, as there are several participants waiting for their turn. We'll take the next question from the line of Manish Bohra from Param Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, hi sir. Congratulations on very good set of numbers. So basically most of my questions have been answered. So I have two questions now.
Mr. Manish Bohra, sir, please increase the volume of your phone. We are not able to hear you, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah. Go on, Mohit.
Yeah. So, sir, basically, we were not able to execute orders worth $11 million in quarter 4 FY20. So, I just wanted to know, how much of that has been executed in Q1 and Q2 FY21. And also, if you can tell us the realized forex gain or loss and MTM loss or gain on forward contracts during this quarter. That are the two questions.
First of all, we had already mentioned that, the deferment of the order will happen across all the 4 quarters because it is from different customers, across all countries where we export. So it's not only centered around, the customers whom we deliver currently. And as I mentioned, mostly this is a new demand uptick, which has come across in the last 4 consecutive months. And this is especially from the big box retailers. So definitely we will be able to deliver them during the year. So that's my first answer to you. And as far as the forex gain is concerned, just I'll request our CFO to give you the exact number.
So in this quarter we have gained about 8 crores, and there were losses about 8 crores roughly. So we are MTM losses about 8 crores. So roughly we are even from the earning side.
Okay. So realized gain is 8 crores and M2M is loss is 8 crores.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you quantify like how much have we executed in H1 FY21 orders, like in terms of value? If you can just let us know approximately.
No, as I said, we don't quantify because see, we are in a continuous business wherein we keep on delivering the replenishment orders to our customers. Now, we cannot quantify it that this particular order which has been deferred is being ordered in this particular category. That we cannot quantify as such. But yes, definitely we haven't lost any businesses, and that is what the key to the whole thing is. And this is a new demand uptick, from the big box retailers.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nitin Shakdher from Green Capital Single Family Office. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Lalpuria. Congratulations on the steady set of results. I have one question. I'd just like to know, in terms of the UAE and GCC market, specifically Dubai, Riyadh, Bahrain, what is the upstick on volumes? I believe some new volume trends have happened from big box retailers in terms of demand push on home building like home center. Can you just give me a snapshot of the demand from the GCC market?
See, we are supplying to the Middle East also. We have an office there. We are attempting to see how we can grow there further to the Middle East and the MENA countries. Specifically, we will not be able to provide you the details, but definitely we are looking at this market once their economy also improves, because the oil economy are facing headwinds. But our strong relationship and product presence is there among the best of the retailers out there, and we hope that soon, once the conditions improve, we will be able to definitely do much better, because we have proven ourselves in the last few years in this market with the best retailers out there.
Okay, and in terms of this market vis-a-vis the US and the Europe market, do you think this market traction might pick up for the company slowly?
Yes, we feel, because you see, we have got a complete bedding solution. So, bedding buyer should not miss us out, because we offer a complete bedding solution that is in fashion, utility, institutional, as well as sheetfed. And we cater to 54 countries. So we have a complete flexible product mix where we can cater to all segments of the market and all channels of the market. So definitely we feel that, once the economy improves in this Middle East markets with the oil economy being an oil economy, we feel that since we are already supplying to this market with some of the retailers, we feel that we should be able to service them once the market improves.
Okay, great. That's all from my end, and all the best to you and Mohit as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sajal Gupta from FE Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon to everyone in the team and to the board for achieving such fantastic numbers.
Thank you.
Actually, you have surprised the market by achieving such high levels of production and sales. And it's one of the gentlemen, you just talked to him about the multi-year growth opportunity is also very, very heartening to hear. So first of all, I just wanted to go on. My question is that if we are able to sustain these EBITDA margins, and if I do a simple math on this thing, what I see that next year the company should have somewhere around 300 odd crore cash, excess cash in next year. With the kind of EBITDA levels which you have achieved this year, so you should have 300 crore cash next year. And on that, with the guidance what you have given, you should report an EPS of 14 rupees in FY21 and 17 to 18 next year, and maybe 22 to 23 the year after. And what I foresee in the company that that your ROCs should be somewhere around 35%. But if you don't utilize the cash, my purpose of asking this question is what is the utilization of cash which you want to do? The ROCs will come down to 30%. So doesn't it make sense for the company that EPS moving from 14 to 18 to do a buyback or spend this money on expansion?
No, certainly we have been saying that we are first of all a growing company and we have entered into a new phase of growth. We have a strong balance sheet and we have never over leveraged, our balance sheet at any given point of time. So from a management perspective, we would like to invest where there is a proper return on capital. This is what our values and principles and philosophy of the companies are. Then that's the reason we did not go into backward integration, into spinning and weaving where our realization is less. But yes, since we are a growing company, the board has acknowledged the fact that the company has capital in hand which one should invest, and since we have achieved a fundamental position in the marketplace, we are looking both for organic and inorganic growth in the marketplace. But we are also looking that we should deploy funds selectively and judiciously so that the return to the stakeholders is to the best. So we will make all attempts to see that since we have entered a new phase of growth, the board will take appropriate decisions to deploy the fund properly and see that the growth expectations of the companies are being met, in time to come. So I can assure you that we will be providing a proper return on capital in time to come. We were already providing that, and we will be deploying the fund judicially.
Because if we go by the standards, in the current year also, we will have enough cash in hand to do your expansion. Because as per the production what you're guiding, you should be sold out by the next year itself. So you would need to be on new expansion levels on this.
I already mentioned that we are on the drawing board and the board will take appropriate decisions and we will expand as what is expected out of us. So we also have these funds for the buffer, So you have to see that as your volumes grow, you need to have proper funds in hand in order for both for growth and for business. So in difficult times, we need these funds, to support the business, overall growth and the business. So that's what our strategy is.
And have an idea of doing a high payout ratio in case you don't go for this payback or buyback or this thing, a high payout ratio next year instead of having.
That the board will decide. No, they will take. As I mentioned, we have got a very strong and good board, and we have got a good team in place, and we will take appropriate decisions which is best for the company.
Thank you. Mr. Gupta, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions. We'll take the next question from the line of Nirmal Shah from Seraphic Investments. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations for good set of results. Sir, I wanted your perspective on three things. First was, if we look at the Chinese currency versus US dollar, in last 12 months, it has appreciated close to 10% against USD, while our currency has actually depreciated to the extent of 45%. So how big the role has been played by the currency? The second question I had was about the recent sanctions by US with respect to the Xinjiang, the cotton producing belt of China, lot of forced labor and lot of brands being told to stop the supplies. How big is that angle in our business development? And the third question is, in case if there is a change of guard in US election, and if at all it happens that there is some softening of stance on China, will it result to some of the reversal of the gains what we have made? Just your perspective on these three developments, sir.
Yeah, first of all, you see, we have a very good forex policy in place where we hedge our position almost 60% irrespective of any derivatives or like we just hedge our position plain vanilla. So we hedge as per the policy, and that takes care of our currency because it is an ongoing process. Whatever orders which we received, whatever contract we do, we hedge it in order to safeguard us both ways, like whether appreciating or depreciating. The Chinese currency, yes, of course, it has appreciated quite a bit, which we feel that, it is today, say, hovering around 6.70 to a dollar. So this has become strong. So, that is in India's favor, I think so, because their domestic manufacturer will face, competition from India because our US dollar is hovering around between 72 to 73. So we feel that, the currency would play a limited role into our business, number one. The Xinjiang cotton, as what we also heard, is not only for textile, it is for other items as well. This is about bonded labor in that area, and the US Customs has declared a guideline to meet that whatever shipped, they need to provide a declaration. So still it is being observed in trade circle how it will pan out. So we will be able to better report to you in time to come. As far as the US election is concerned, see, we are in a need-based product and textile is not manufactured in the US. US is just producing cotton which they export. And 85% of the textile is being exported out of China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Vietnam to the world. So, and we being in the need-based product, and we are quite competitive in order to supply, being a consumable item, I think the dependence would be there on sourcing out of India and other Asian countries. So we feel irrespective of the results, we feel that the business would move on because the US is a large market and it is a consuming market. They are doing well and their economy is doing well. The interest rates are low, so the lesser saving. So people still are consuming a lot of goods, and we feel that in time to come, as I mentioned, the home has become an important area for both life and lifestyle. So definitely we fall under that category of home, and so we are optimistic that irrespective of any result, we should be able to sustain our growth.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karthikeyan from Suyash Advisors. Please go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon. Couple of clarifications. One is on the three segments that you spoke about, utility, institutional, and fashion bedding. What would be the share of man-mades within that?
See, primarily it is more man-made. And that's the reason you see China is dominant, because the Indian synthetic prices are still higher than the Chinese prices by almost 20-25%. So if our government rationalizes the duty and levy duty on the end product rather than the raw material, then there will be possibility of developing, if there is a cheaper raw material, the downstream product and exporting worldwide. So we have made representations and we are waiting for the government to respond, and we feel that in time to come, India also will become competitive in this area as well.
How labor intensive is this segment versus the traditional bedsheeting segment, sir?
It is very labor intensive. Textile as a whole is a very labor intensive industry.
I understand, but what I'm saying is versus the sheeting segment, is it much more labor intensive? That's what I was asking, sir.
Yeah, to some extent, yes. The answer is yes, that it is more labor intensive, but it is also automated when you compare exactly to a sheet set. It also depends on the product which you are referring to, because if there are embroideries or if there are filling or if there is a making of a comforter or a quilt, so different products have different, labor component. Primarily, textile as a whole is labor intensive, and that's the reason also China becoming more expensive in labor. The shift is happening to Vietnam and Bangladesh as we see, because those are labor arbitrage. And India also will stand to gain because India is not at the same level of labor cost as China.
Right. And the last question, sir, on your India branded business, what kind of brand spend are you planning, say over a 2-year time frame?
See, we already have a very good brand, Boutique Living, out there in the marketplace and across Pan India in almost 20 states with 500 point of sale. We have recently launched Layers, which is a value-added mass brand catering to the aspiring Indian community, and we hope that it will do well. And we also have launched a direct-to-consumer Boutique Living luxury brand. So we are trying to go omni-channel in this product, and since India is a large market and a growing market with a young population and a middle class growing, we feel that there's a lot of hope and confidence that we should do well, because the number of brands out there are also reduced and there are only a couple of them. So we feel there's a large opportunity here, and we are quite optimistic about our brand promotion in the domestic market. And in the years to come also, we will keep on offering the Indian community with new brands, new products, just like how we have been successful in the overseas market and their retail. So we will keep offering our innovative products in the domestic market as well.
Thank you. Mr. Karthikeyan, may we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Prerna Jhunjhunwala from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Congratulations on a very good set of numbers and reaching optimal utilization on your capacities. It's a very positive surprise as well as happening to see the kind of capacity utilization you've delivered in this second quarter. I just wanted to understand the demand from US, which segments are showing this kind of strong improvement in demand, like mass, premium, or mid-premium categories, or printed or base categories. And how is the demand shaping up? And is the pie actually growing with respect to the consumption, or is it largely the inventory filling that has happened due to shelves going empty due to higher consumption in the pandemic time? So some clarity on the demand in the US.
We are seeing this recovery happening in the market due to home becoming the center stage, as I already explained to you.
Yeah.
And because we are spending more time at home, work from home culture, which has become a new norm, definitely the home textile consumption is bound to move up. And this is happening as we speak, like because the big box retailers are doing pretty well across all segments of the product, like whether it is the high end or the mid end or the low end. So every product is doing well, because when you stay at home, you buy more. You must have experienced this in 2008-9 as well, during the subprime when people were at home. Home did very well. The home product did very well. So, the home textile particularly is doing very well across all segments of the marketplace. And that is very apparent from the product which we sell, because we are positioned in mid to high segment. just for you to know. So we are seeing an uptick. So definitely the product demand is moving in mid to high end as well. The pie is also growing because this is a structural shift, as what we have mentioned earlier also in this call, that these are structural shift which is happening to the home textile space, and the home textile consumption is growing, so the pie is growing. And plus, home textile market as a whole earlier was also correlated to new homes, good employment rate, better economy, and lesser low interest rate. So the home consumption used to grow at 2 to 3%. Now we feel it will be higher. And lastly, you see the health and hygiene product has also got added as a compelling reason for customers to buy. Because if you do not have that at home, you are going to definitely buy a new health and hygiene product and bring home, like antibacterial or antimicrobial. So definitely that category is also added up to the other categories which were already selling. So we feel that the pie will move up, and it is across all segments of the market product.
Okay, so we can definitely assume that the market can grow around 5% as compared to 2 to 3% earlier. That is kind of structural shift that we're talking about, around that number. Okay. So my second question is on the demand in the MMF segment. So can you please help us understand if we have seen the uptick in that category in this quarter, or is it yet to actually come to you over the years?
Come again, because your voice is echoing, Prerna. I am not able to hear.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just trying to understand the new segments that we were talking about in the MMF range, where India has lower market share. Have we seen any uptick there, and does it contribute meaningfully to our orders this quarter, or is that opportunity yet to occur to us? So since we are running at full capacity utilization, will it require additional investment or a new kind of investment into that MMF category, or can it be delivered through our current operations? So this is my last question.
We are seeing an uptick in the MMF category as well, particularly because this is dominantly used in the fashion bedding, utility and institutional bedding. So we are seeing an uptick there, and that's why our numbers are also improving over the increased numbers. So when we were doing earlier at 7%, we improved it to 10 and then 13 and now 15 on the increased numbers. So that is keeping the same pace. And we need to focus on the sheet sets also along with this segment. But we are seeing an uptick in this segment, in the MMF segment also going forward. And as I mentioned, once the duties rationalized by the government and the raw material becomes cheaper, then I think we will have a better situation prevailing, and we will be able to do much better competitively. So I think that is doing well. And we are also putting across, both the back end and the front end, and strengthening our supply chain in this segment. And we are finding positive results. So we feel that in time to come, there will be certainly a structural shift from China on this product to India.
Okay. Any number that you can share, how much would be coming from this category currently to our revenue?
15%, as I said, on an annualized basis, we are doing for these three categories.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And all the best for future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, we will take that as the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. K.R. Lalpuria for closing comments.
Yes, we at Indocount remain confident that the next level of growth through our customer relationship and product portfolio will be sustainable, brand accretive, and margin positive. With this, I would like to thank everyone for joining on the call. I hope we have been able to address all your queries. For any further information, kindly get in touch with me or Strategic Growth Advisor, our Investor Relation Advisor. We wish each and everyone a very happy festive season. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Indocount Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.